What's poppin', and welcome back to another episode of Fletcher the Fisherman, guys. I have just arrived to the pond that I'm going to be fishing today back in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm hoping that I can get myself a nice one today. You know, I just have that gut instinct that today's going to be a good day. I'm going to catch a really quality sized fish. I don't know, something's just telling me that in my gut, so fingers crossed that it happens. I don't know, probably just jinx myself, to be honest, but you know, I'm going to get out there, try my best. Today is another really cold winter day. It's probably, I don't know, in the mid 30s right now. It's probably going to get up to about 40 degrees or so, and it is chilly. It's not quite as windy as the last time I went out, which is a bad thing for me. It's better when there is wind. It makes the fish just more active and whatnot, but it is better for me as far as just the cold factor goes, so I'll be able to withstand it a little bit, kind of going with the same little tactics as I did the last video. I think I have a shaky head, a blade bait, and some other winter baits on as well, and you know, my gut instinct's telling me the blade bait's gonna be my best bet, but we're just gonna have to see what happens. But it is time to go ahead and get out of this car and grab my rods over here and get fishing. But guys, if you haven't already, make sure you check out the merch. I just dropped it. It would really mean a lot if you could just take 2 seconds and go to FletcherTheFisherman.com after this video. Just at least check it out. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and find us a big one. Whew, another cold morning of fishing. Not quite as bad as last time, but it is in the high 30s. Well, let me go ahead and go through the lineup for you guys today. We have our shaky head option. Then we have a blade bait as well, but this time I have it on a spinning rod, which I will get to at some point in this video. I want to explain why I put that on there. Then I have a jerk bait right here, and I have not used a jerk bait in quite some time, so I'm excited to get out here and use this today. I want to see if I can get a few bites on that. And then my final option, just a little natural colored square bill right here, and this one is a crawl color. So I think I'm going to get started with the crawl right here. I just kind of want to see what the bottom of this pond is like right now, whether there's a lot of leaves or if it's more rocky or whatever the situation is, and see if I can't pick up a quick fish here this morning. Got it back with minimal leaves on it, which is a good sign. I don't want there to be like a ton of leaves on the bottom of this pond, because they just give me a headache this time of year, because a lot of the stuff that I like to use has treble hooks on it, and just with using treble hooks, they snag everything. So, you know, the less leaves the better. Well, it's looking like not much luck with a square bill. I was hoping I was gonna be able to get at least one bite with this thing, but that was not the case. I might go back to it at some point, but right now there's just absolutely no wind, so I figured that might be a hard sell for these fish. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to one of my favorite winter baits right here, and that is the blade bait. So let me go ahead and flick this sucker out there and see if we can't get any kind of action going on with this. Walked around the pond a little bit to try this spot over here, trying to kind of like figure out what the deepest part of this pond is. I fished it quite a handful of times, but I can't really tell what side or what section is the deepest. I figure it's either over here kind of near where this spillover is, or over in that corner where there's some other kind of funky stuff going on over there. So I want to try this spot because I didn't have any luck over there. Is that a fish? I think that's our first fish of the day right there. And I got him just slow dragging this thing. And he's pulling pretty good. Oh yeah, he's giving me a good fight. Oh yeah. First fish of the morning, baby. Let's go. I mean, this guy is tugging. He's got some fight in him. Good gracious. Not like a monster fish by any means, but he sure is fighting like one. Let's go. That's a solid 2-pounder to start the morning. Sitting there right on that little spillover, and I just got him right on the tip of the nose. I barely had that sucker hooked, but that is a fat winter bass if I have ever seen one. Like I said, guys, not like the world's biggest fish by any means, but this is a really quality, fat, healthy fish right there. And I have no complaints this morning catching that guy. at all. I'm hoping I can find a few more that are a little bit bigger and a little bit chunkier than this guy, but I will take this one to start the day. Let's go ahead and stick this guy back in there. He had so much energy. There he goes, off in a flash. Well, it's nice to finally knock the skunk off the board with the little blade bait right here. It did the trick for me. Took a little bit longer than I wanted, but it did the trick. But I did tell y'all at the beginning of the video that I would explain why I was actually throwing this on the spinning rod and not the bait caster like I was in the last video. And the short answer for that is that I just didn't have a spinning rod set up to throw this on, because that's pretty much what I always throw it on. I can get away throwing it on a bait caster, but I like to throw it on a spinning rod. And the reason for that is that a spinning rod is much more equipped for handling lighter bait. Bait casters have a hard time casting small, petite, light baits. There's definitely bait casters that are made to do that, but generally speaking, spinning rods are much more capable of doing that, especially if you have a budget. A cheap spinning rod is going to be able to handle a small, petite bait a lot better than a cheap bait casting rod. Then the other reason why I would use a spinning rod over a bait caster in this scenario is, one, for the castability of the small bait, and then two, when you're using a bait caster, typically the biggest advantage to a bait caster over a spinning rod is having control over that line, being able to put your thumb on the spool and control the speed of that line coming off of your rod. So if you overcast, say you're casting into a tight spot like up underneath a dock, if you overcast, you can thumb that spool and actually slow that bait down. So I don't need that functionality when I'm fishing with a bait like a blade bait. I'm not casting into super tight spots. I'm not trying to cast up underneath a dock. If anything, I'll cast by a dock, but I'm not trying to cast like into a tight spot with this bait. That's just not what it's built for. I'm casting in open water, making long casts. That's gonna cover as much water as possible for me. So that is why I like to use a spinning rod over a bait caster for a bait like this. And you'll typically see me fishing a lot more spinning rods in the winter time, just because I'm fishing with more finessey baits in general. Oh, there's one. Oh no, he came off. Shoot. Dang it, man. That was definitely a fish too. Felt some head shake and everything. That actually might have been a nice one. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. I'm trying to get back out there. Try to be in the general vicinity of where I got that bite, see if I can't get another one. There's one. That's a fish. Pulling pretty good too. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah. Got him out deep. He's fighting pretty dang good. Man, I got this drag loose, but I mean, shoot, that fish is definitely tugging pretty dang good. Ooh, yeah. That's a decent one. That is a decent one. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a really good one. That is a really good one, guys. That's like a 4-pounder. That's a 4+. That's a 4+. That's a 4+. Oh goodness. Stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Stay down, he's barely hooked. He's barely hooked. Shoot. Hold on. This fish is barely hooked, guys. This is one of the reasons why I love fishing in the winter is you get a chance of hooking freaking pigs. And this is one of them. And I just gotta be really careful with this, guys, because I'm fishing with super light line. This fish is not hooked super well, and these are really petite hooks that he could easily pull out or just straighten out. Hold on, just gotta take my time with this guy. He's just digging. He's digging right here. Oh yeah, this is like this is 4+ all day. All day. Come here. Come here. Shoot. Hold on. Just gotta be really careful with this fish. Really. Yeah. Oh yes, guys, look at that. That came right out. That's a freaking stud. We're throwing that sucker on the scale. I'm thinking that fish is close to probably like, I don't know, close to 4.5, 5. Let's freaking go, baby. Blade bait doing work for me as usual. Got that scaled 0 out. And let's go ahead and throw this on there and see what this sucker weighs. 5 pounds, 1 ounce. I didn't want to say it while he was in the water. I was hoping he was going to be a 5-pounder, but that is a freaking stud. Let's go. Here's a better look at that fish, guys. 5 freaking pounder. I hope this isn't the last one we get today either. That fish was out there deep, and I got that fish on the blade bait just doing a yo-yo out there, and sure enough, I pulled up this freaking pig, and like I said, I just had missed one out there, and I felt like that fish was a big fish because I let it hit the bottom, I pulled it off, and I hooked him for like a split second. I felt that big wide head shake, and you typically don't feel a head shake like that unless it's a fish probably at least 5 pounds. And sure enough, I got back out there, same general area. I was a little bit farther away, could have been the same fish, but I doubt it. But another freaking chunk, man. 5-pounder. Let's go ahead and get this fish back in. All right, guys, it's time to put this big beast back in the water and let her swim on. This water is freezing cold, and this fish is ready to go. She's chomping down on my finger and all that, so let me go ahead and let her swim off. Yes, man, yes, that is what I'm talking about. Let's go. So let's see if there's any damage out here on my blade bait. Looks like all my hooks are intact. My line feels good, don't need to retie. Let's get this sucker back out there. We are just getting started, baby. Let's go. If I could catch like another bass that's like between, I don't know, I want to say like 3 and 5 pounds, I would be stoked. I'm already stoked. Oh man, I love it. There's just nothing better than catching big bass. It's my blood flowing. Those last 2 bites I had were way out there. I mean, like super far out here in this pond. So I'm gonna keep casting out there in the middle and see if I can't pick off a few more. Oh, there's one. There's a fish right there. I was reeling that thing back in and I just came up and got clobbered. There's actually a little pipe in the water right there. I've never seen that before. This water's a lot clearer than it normally is, but he came right off of it. Sure enough. And we got another fish dogging me. Let's go. I love catching them when I'm not really expecting to. I certainly wasn't there. Let's go. And oh no, he came off. Shoot, man, shoot. I just had him barely hooked right there in the lip. Ah, that sucks. So I know when it comes to the rod, I talked about why I was using a spinning rod, but I didn't talk about the actual rod itself and what kind of rod that I'm using. So today I'm using a Veritas, and this is a 7-foot medium fast rod. And the reason I want a 7-foot medium fast is because when it comes to treble hooks, you have hold on, let me grab them really quick. You have really small, petite hooks on here, and it doesn't take much pressure to actually get these hooks in the fish. So what you're worried about when it actually comes to hooking the fish is just putting enough pressure on it to put these little tiny hooks into that fish, and it doesn't take much, so you're not really worried about that when it comes to the rod. What you're worried about is trying to keep that fish on there once you actually have them hooked. And when you have these tiny treble hooks, it's easy to hook the fish, but it is hard to keep that fish from shaking this thing. So you want a rod that has a nice soft tip on it that basically mimics any motion that fish is doing in the water. If it comes up and jumps, this rod will load up and just kind of spring and keep that line nice and taut, keeping those hooks in place. If you have a rod that's too stiff, it's gonna come up, you're gonna get slack in that line, and then that fish is gonna have free range to throw this bait with the weight of the bait itself, and it's gonna throw it a lot of the times if you have too stiff of a rod. So that's why you want a rod with a nice soft tip, and that is why I'm using this rod specifically today. Oh, there's one. I was moving spots again and got another bite right there. Maybe that's the strat. Just start reeling in and maybe you'll hook one. I'll take that all day. It's another fat little fish right there. Every single one of these fish I've hooked today has been so dang chunky, but they've just been nipping at it, and that bait's been hanging out of all their mouths, so I just want to be extra careful because I kind of rushed myself with that last fish and he got off. So I just want to keep this bait loaded and right in the corner of his mouth and let him just kind of work himself out while I can gently take him out of the water right here. And I actually think this guy's hooked a little bit better, so let's fling him onto the bank. And that's another 2-pounder or so, another really fat winter bass. And man, this has turned out to be a pretty good day. Not too bad for high 30s. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not the world's longest fish by any means, but like I said, guys, these fish just get so stinking fat this time of year, and this guy got just poked in the gill there a little bit where they're likely to bleed, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him back in there. Sorry about poking you in the bad spot there, bud, but let me go ahead and let him swim on. Well, my last 2 bites have come when I just started kind of like reeling it up and sped that bait up a little bit, so I'm gonna try reeling this through this area over here a little bit faster, see if I can get a bite like that. I don't know, there's been no consistency with the bites that I've had today. I've had 2 bites just yo-yoing it, one that I missed. One was that big fish, and then I had one just slow cranking this thing on the bottom, which was the first fish. And then, like I said, the last 2 bites I've had have just been me speeding this thing up, trying to get it back to the bank a little bit faster so I could take a new cast in an area where I think might be a little bit more productive. And sure enough, I caught 2 unexpectedly, so I don't know, it's been interesting. All I know is they're munching the blade bait. Oh, there's one. Oh, that's a big one, guys. That at least took off like a big one. Oh, is this another big fish? Is this another big fish, guys? It might be, I can't tell. I haven't got a good look at him, but he's fighting super good. Oh, it's not a monster, but good gracious, this little guy's got a lot of fight in him. Definitely, I'd say probably the second best one of the day. But goodness gracious, that one took off like a madman the second I hooked him. Hammered the piss out of it too. Oh, he's barely hooked, he's barely hooked. Oh, stay down, stay down, stay down. Stay down there, bud. Oh, I actually want to keep him going this way. Oop, I just got another hook in him. Perfect. Let's get a little bank flip on this guy. Oh, yeah. Let's go. That's a high 2, 3-pounder. Let me go ahead and let this girl back in right here. There she goes. Whew, I told you guys, I told you at the beginning of this video that I was feeling a big one. We got one today and I'm pumped. I'm hoping I can get out and catch myself a bunch of big winter bass and show you guys how to do it yourself along the way. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. And guys, one last thing, go ahead and check out the merch if you haven't already on FletcherTheFisherman.com. But as always, bassing is a passion. Peace.